Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Orange Weekly Post-Game Podcast. My name is KevDan, and we're going to be breaking down not only the Broncos and Chiefs game, but also rewind a little bit and look at the season as a whole, everything that happened, as we look towards also previewing all the news that's coming out about coaching and ownership. So, Rob, Jon, and I are going to be here talking about that. Glad you're here. And again, welcome to another episode of the Orange Weekly Post Game Podcast. Okay, Jon and Rob, how you guys doing?
Doing good, Kevin. Good to see you boys again tonight. I've missed you. It's been a long week.
Right.
And lots to discuss, like you said, Kevin. This is going to be a fun off season. Let's put it that way.
Oh, it's going to be a busy off season.
Very busy.
I've said before that Orange Weekly, we stay somewhat active during the off season when there's big news, like free agency and the draft and stuff. This might be our busiest off season yet. Depending on how active the team is.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Kev, good to see you again. Jon, we've missed you as well. Definitely. Like I said in our group chat, things are about to heat up faster than a junkie spoon because all the rumors are coming out, all the information's coming out, and it's definitely going to be a busy off season, but I'm looking forward to it.
So before we talk about obviously all the things that we want to talk about, which is the coaching and the ownership and all that stuff, the first thing that we should focus on is the game. As this is normally a post-game podcast, let's make sure we don't overlook the Chiefs game, in which, of course, the Broncos lost in Broncos fashion at the very end of the game. They were holding their own pretty nicely there until what some will say is a Gordon fumble. I have my own thoughts about that, but we'll talk about that when we get to it. But as we always do, let's start with about an hour before kickoff. What were your guys' thoughts, emotions, feelings heading into the game against the Chiefs?
Zero expectations for me. Let's just see what happens was my kind of thought process going into that one.
Fair.
Interesting. They moved us up to the Saturday game, probably just giving the Chiefs some more prime time, coverage. So, wanting to see a playoff team face off against a division rival is the only thing the only reason I could see for why that game got moved to that point. But I was happy with the way they played. Expecting a blowout and not seeing that, especially with our top corners being out for the game. So I thought that the team played well, just like the Broncos, though. They give you hope and then they let you down, and that's what we saw. One more time to kick us while we're down 10.
No, exactly.
Yeah, I kind of want to echo Jon's sentiment. I was, as you and I and David have kind of come to terms, numb inside, and just wanted to see what happened. Surprisingly to me, we did play rather well as a whole for the most part. But, of course, we have one dramatic play and fumble, and that, just kind of put the game out of our reach. But credit to Drew Lock. He played decent to finish out the season. No interceptions yet again. So to me, that screams improvement. And I'm definitely looking forward to hopefully he'll be on the team next season, and hopefully we'll see what happens moving forward. But I was just wanted to see what happens. Didn't get too high, didn't get too low, but there for a minute I thought we were going to beat them. I thought the streak was over.
Rob,
you jinxed it. You thought that.
I'm a hopeful optimistic. What do you guys want me to do?
That thought alone killed us.
Give that optimism.
Hey, I know, I try to be positive, even though, like Jon, I didn't have any expectations of us actually winning the game. But there was a glimmer of hope for just a minute, damn it.
Yes, there was. And, playing a team like the Chiefs, if you're going to play them close, it's going to come down to one mistake on either team that's going to be the difference in the game. And that really was it, that fumble recovery. We were inside, I believe inside the 10 going into the end zone. So we scored there. It's a totally different game, but as we know, it went the other direction. Chiefs didn't make mistakes, and that was the difference in the game, as they said.
Yeah, and I can't remember, and I'm trying to figure this out right now. 23, Kyle Fuller is the one that had 2 interceptions in that game, and he dropped both of them. So I firmly believe had Fuller caught those 2, that would have been the turn of the table, so to speak. But hey, let's go Titans for knocking the Chiefs out of the number 1 spot. So
right, we didn't help them any, that's for sure. So the Broncos looked promising and not too bad, and you talked about 2 quarterbacks between Mahomes and Drew Lock, but you both have neglected to mention the number 1 quarterback of the game, and that is Courtland Sutton, who is 1 for 1, 16 yards, averaged 16 yards, and QBR of 99.9. So
and a passer rating of 118.
Yes, 118.8. Yes, you're right. So great job, Courtland Sutton. Probably going to be looking at him in training camp next year. If we don't get Aaron Rodgers.
Kevin, don't give them any ideas.
You know what? At this point, any idea is on the table.
All I have to say is that was a pretty nice progression, the way he read that play. He found the open guy in the end. Makes me think maybe we should have started Courtland Sutton last year when we played that no quarterback game.
See?
1 for 1. You can't do much better than that, except he didn't have a touchdown. I guess that's the only thing he was missing.
Well, I know
that wasn't his fault though.
I know that play wasn't the same play, but didn't Denver run a play similar where Sutton threw it to Emmanuel Sanders? Am I remembering that correctly? Was that was last year, wasn't it, or 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I was kind of. I mean, again, I wish Fangio the best of luck. Pat Shurmur can go to hell. Tom McMahon can go to hell. No more Tom McMahon. Let's go.
He's gonna get rehired.
Kevin, I swear to God, don't you put that out there.
What if Tom McMahon's behind the ownership change?
Ooh, that's why he was. Yeah, he wasn't fired. He's actually going to be part of.
He pulled it down Elway. He promoted up.
He's like, oh, I'm fired. Oh, I have a new position.
That's ridiculous. Okay, so just quick reminder for everybody listening. I did mention earlier. We do have our weekly shows and podcasts and stuff. We're starting to wind those down as the season ends. I do want to remind everybody that's listening to this. One, as we are live, or if you're listening to these podcasts on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, we do these live as well on YouTube. So I do see some viewer comments, and we'll get to those at the end of the show. So we're not ignoring you guys, but Drake and Joey, thanks for tuning in. Do appreciate it. But I also want to remind everybody of our fan appreciation episode, which will be January 25th, Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Mountain Time. We have some fantastic special guests. The first one, if you all remember, the Lions fan who was at the game where we honored Demaryius Thomas, holding the sign that said, today we're all Broncos fans. He will be joining us, as will some others. But that is the first one that we are announcing publicly today. But make sure you join us for not only some special guests, but a lot of prize giveaways and everything as well.
Are we going to just slowly reveal who the other guests are before the show?
Yes, we are.
I like this.
Yes,
Kevin.
we are.
I like this approach. Okay.
Yes, we are.
Wanting more. That's what you're doing.
Yep. Keep people coming back. Like, who else is going to be there? That is the first guest, but we have some other big, more notable names. But we want to. We were able to contact him and tell him, hey, we want to have a few minutes to talk to you and thank you for all the support you gave Broncos country that day. So, but if you want a chance to win some awesome Broncos and some awesome Orange Weekly swag, Tuesday, 7 p.m. Mountain Time on January 25th. Check us out then, and we'll be doing that.
It's going to be a good time.
Yes, it will be. It will be a great time. I think the last thing about the game, because we've already, it just sucks, but what are your thoughts on the game-ending fumble? Is that a Melvin Gordon fumble or no?
So, in my opinion, yes, because granted, it was during exchange. Granted, the tight end missed the chip block. I understand all of that. But as a running back, if you're being handed the ball, hold on to the damn ball. How many times all season long, I can think specifically 3 or 4 at the most, that Melvin Gordon has fumbled at key moments like that. I mean, we were on the 5-10 yard line, something like that. We were in the red zone, and he fumbles. And granted, Drew Lock is only one person; he's not that big. But for the love of God, it just always happens at the worst possible time. Had he fumbled in the beginning of the game, I wouldn't have been too worried about it. I'd have been pissed still, but at the worst possible time.
Yeah.
What do you think, Rob?
You're not wrong. As far as Melvin Gordon, I mean, this year there have been a handful of times where he's fumbled at the worst possible times, and Melvin Gordon's not a guy that normally does fumble. On this one specifically, though, I'm definitely taking the opposite approach. I mean, that guy was, what was it, Ingram from the Chiefs was in the field. I mean, I'm surprised that wasn't fumbled before it was even in Gordon's game, the way he was in there that quickly. You can't do much there. I mean, it's actually impressive, I think, that Lock got it into Gordon's hands at all. That's just a missed blocking assignment by 2 guys, I think, in that situation. I don't know if the conspiracy theorist in me thinks that they did it on purpose at that point in the game, knowing they're up and realizing they're not supposed to win this game, realizing, a loss actually puts them in a better draft position. I'm just kidding. I would never hope for the Broncos to lose. But I think that, again, it goes down to discipline on this team, the small things that make that big difference in the game, and a missed blocking assignment here. If one guy just, chips him up, even just a little bit, that's a totally different play, totally different ending to the game.
So there was a right answer to that question, and the answer is no. That was not a Melvin Gordon fumble. That I'm sorry. That he was getting hit as he was getting handed the football. He did not even have full possession of the ball to begin with. And the reason I bring this up, and so Rob, I can see where a lot of people, say that, right? Melvin Gordon is known to fumble the ball in key times, and that is a big problem, right? I would think that if Williams was in that position, he would have fumbled it as well.
I don't think
he was just like what you're saying, John. That one particular Chiefs player in particular that got back there completely unblocked. That was the bigger issue. We should be yelling at how did that guy come off the edge like that with nobody touching him. Whoever the right tackle was there at the time literally just let him step right past him as he was focused in the people in front of him. So,
I believe on that play there was not one but 2 tight ends on that side.
Yeah.
So how not even one of the tight ends chipped him, but I mean
that was I can't tell from this video view I'm watching, but yeah, it wasn't chipped. I mean, went right on through the line.
Right through. One guy just blocking nobody. It's just a terrible assignment mix-up, and that was the difference in the game essentially.
It would be a completely different story, and I would be absolutely infuriated if Gordon had the ball, got to the pack of players, and that's where he fumbled. Had a clear handoff, had taken a couple steps, and that's where the ball got knocked loose. That's where I'd have a big problem. And the reason, more than anything, more than to debate on if that was a Melvin Gordon fumble or not, the bigger question here is, do we bring him back next year? And a lot of people are immediately saying that was another Melvin Gordon fumble, 100% his responsibility, his problem, his mistake, and therefore we should not bring him back. But what do you guys think? Regardless of how you feel about if that was a fumble or not, bigger thing here, do we bring Melvin Gordon back?
I would say it depends on the deal. If we can get him back on a cheap, and when I say cheap, I mean running back cheap deal.
Sure.
For the right price for a year or two, I think I would be okay with it. But gosh, it's just so frustrating because of how many times he does fumble. And granted, Javonte Williams has fumbled a couple times this season. I don't have the exact numbers, but he's fumbled a lot less than Melvin Gordon, and he takes just as many hits as Melvin Gordon does. I don't know if Melvin Gordon needs to start doing some curls and some strength training a little bit instead of new dance moves and stuff, but I don't know. I'm kind of 50-50. I mean, if we can get him for the right price, I don't know. I guess it's going to be up to the new coaching staff now. I feel like everything is up in the air right now. Everything is just, nobody knows what's going to happen. Nobody knows who's going to own the team. We're all just like sitting on pins and needles waiting for the news to drop.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would like Gordon back just because that 1-2 punch between him and Javonte Williams was essentially like our offense this year. And they played well. Melvin Gordon, the sad thing about that fumble is Melvin Gordon had a hell of a game. 12 carries for 110 yards. He was a third of the offense alone. So I wish that hadn't happened to him. Again, I'm kind of giving him the pass on this one. But yeah, averaging 9 yards a carry, like he had one hell of a game. It made me a little upset just because I wanted Javonte Williams getting the ball more, only because I had a bet on Javonte Williams getting over 50 yards. He's close. But
he's close.
No, Melvin Gordon, I thought he played wonderful. I think he might be in high demand as far as running backs go. So I'm kind of skeptical if the Broncos are going to be able to bring him back because I think you guys are right. I think it needs to be the right price. Just because of how well Javonte Williams has played, and he looks like he can easily be a bell cow for us. But I would not be upset if we brought Melvin Gordon back. Just allowing Javonte Williams, because again, he's a rookie. Allow him to keep getting better and not taking as many hits, letting his longevity go a little bit farther.
No, completely agreed. I think so. I did see that the fan 104.3 The Fan selected Melvin Gordon as the offensive player of the year. I disagree with that. I think it should be Javonte Williams, but after I thought about that for about 5-10 seconds sitting here, like, how are you picking Melvin Gordon over Javonte Williams, as offensive player of the year?
Are they high?
Maybe that is their way of using their influence to show Melvin Gordon that we do appreciate him and that we want him to stay, that we do like him. Because if you think back to several weeks ago when Gordon was like, I don't think that's not his words exactly, but I don't know if fans like me or not anymore, things, whatever nature he was talking about there. Right. To show that, hey, we actually do really like you, we would like you to stay. Some people are going to get really upset if we decide to pay him more than 50 cents to stay, or to stay at all, even for free. But, I take it for what it's worth. I'm almost thinking that there's a secondary reason there, to show that even with that fumble and stuff, and this is all speculation. This is just me. You can call me a conspiracy theorist, but end of the day, I think that if we can get him to stay for a hometown discount for 2 years or so, then that'd be great for the team in general.
Yeah, I think I'm higher on Gordon than both of you. I don't have a problem with him being the offensive player of the year for the Broncos. Yeah, he led the team in yards, touchdowns. Javonte Williams, they were pretty much the same in yards. So to me, I'd probably give him 1 and 1A for offensive player of the year. Give them both the award because they have very similar stats.
Ooh. Now, is the award you're giving out like both the same size, or are they miniatures of what the original award would be?
Do they actually get
Like
an award?
50
Is it just like a gift certificate to, I don't know,
Well,
Arby's?
imagine a world where you're giving out
Arby's.
the award. Is a little award with the football player on top? Is that like a miniaturized like 50% scale of what the full award would be if you're giving out both, or what?
Yeah,
What's going on in John's brain here?
Yeah. I'm not totally against rookie hazing. I'm okay with a little bit smaller, like like 1 inch shorter for DeMonte, just to like save him a little bit. Also, he could kill me in a heartbeat if he wanted to. So
I'll allow it as long as Melvin Gordon's award is a running back fumbling the ball. So that way he has a constant reminder of what not to fucking do.
Melvin Gordon, we're talking about fumbles. 3 fumbles for the year. All 3 were lost. So not great. The problem with the Broncos and fumbling, it's not like we had the most fumbles in the league, but we had the most fumbles lost, which is a bigger problem. That every time we fumbled the ball, we weren't recovering it. So, yeah, it sucks.
We are about to get to the point where we start talking about the offseason and looking at some of these comments, and we'll start answering the viewer comments. But I'll start with this one. Richie, I am saying that size matters. That's what I am saying. Yes, that when it comes to the award that I am given, if I am co-sharing an award with somebody, I also want my award to be the same size. Okay? Otherwise, it's worthless.
Kevin, are you used to sharing awards?
I'm not going to answer that.
Hey, even a shared award is an award, Kevin.
Okay. I'll remember that. Moving forward. Hey, speaking of awards and winning things, the Broncos season might be over, but the football season is not over yet. The NFL playoffs are here, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is kicking things off with a huge offer. Counting down to Super Bowl 56, new customers can get 56-1 odds on any wildcard team to win their game. Bet just $5 and win $280 in free bets if your team is victorious. If Sportsbook isn't available in your state yet, you still have something to play for this wild card weekend. Everyone can play for huge cash prizes with DraftKings daily fantasy football contests, and DraftKings is giving all new customers a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes with their first deposit. Now, here's what we need y'all to do. Go ahead and download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code TPPN and get 56-1 odds on any NFL team. Bet just $5 and win $280 in free bets if your team wins. That's promo code TPPN this wildcard weekend at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. You must be 21 years or older in a state that supports sports betting. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit and $1 wager required. 1 per customer. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. Okay, gents, with that, we're going to move forward. The Broncos 2021 season ends with a 7-10 record. Coaching staff is out except for Ed Donatel. He has not been fired. It seems like every other major coach and coordinator has been fired. And also, breaking news today, something from the courts that we did not expect to hear from at least until February. The courts have essentially, without getting into the legalese of it all, have cleared the path for the Broncos to officially be put up for sale. So everybody watching, we'll kind of make this a little bit more interactive with some of the comments and whatnot. But let's start with I think the ownership, in that it's a smaller discussion right now, and you don't know much of what's going to happen, what names they're considering, because let's face it, by now the NFL has a list of people that have been interested in buying teams since the Panthers were sold. So they already know of people who are interested in buying an NFL team. I am one of them. I am throwing in $25. Essentially, whatever Rob says he's going to throw in, I'm going to throw in $5 more so that I have more of a say than.
I'm going to go 40, Kev. Let's go.
$45 in for the Broncos is where I'm at now. I hope the Broncos will be willing to take my $45 as a small slice of ownership here. But guys, here we are. The Broncos are going to have an owner more than likely this offseason. Now, it's not going to be official until much later in the summer, but we're probably going to know who it is March, April, May.
I think we're expecting spring timeframe. I know some people are still thinking there's an outside chance for the siblings to figure it out between themselves and come.
I don't think they will.
I suppose there's still an outside chance of that, but this ruling today definitely leans. I mean, it's a better thing for anyone trying to buy the Broncos. So everything's kind of pointing in that direction. Peyton and the Manning family in general. Who knows? I mean, that'd be cool. We'll see what happens. But Joe Ellis did come out and say today that right now they're focused on the coaching search, and that once that's figured out, they would have more of a statement on the ownership situation. So expect that probably early February timeframe to have more clarity there. It seems like.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said before in our group chat, I'm nervous, but I'm excited, and I'm a little sad because for as long as I have been alive, the Denver Broncos have been owned by Pat Bowlen. And, granted, he's not here anymore with us. May he rest in peace. I'm a little sad and a little nervous, to be honest with you. I don't know, man. Like I said before, everything's up in the air. We just nobody knows what the hell's going to happen.
To me, finally having that figurehead, and somebody who's going to hold people account. And let me say this, that's my main concern when it comes to this ownership issue is obviously I think it's going to be somebody who just this day and age, it's going to be somebody who's more interested. Bottom line, 95% of their concern is going to be the business side, the money side, right? But is it going to be somebody who at the same time is very invested and interested in seeing the team succeed more than just bringing in fans on a weekly basis? Are they going to care to the Pat Bowlen level? And I'm really hoping that when they're doing this search and / talking to people in the NFL is looking at this, whoever comes in understands the history of the Broncos and everything Pat Bowlen especially did for the team. And his drive, his passion of winning and winning Super Bowls and getting us to the Super Bowl was such a huge factor. And that is just such a big part of Broncos country and the background and the history of the team in itself. So I'm hoping that whoever comes in has that knowledge and is willing to continue that forward more than, just, hey, I want to build a fancy stadium so people come in and sit in the seats and I make money. And if we make the playoffs but don't win any playoff games, I don't care,
Yeah. Well, they're not going to be able to replace Pat Bowlen, right? He was a Hall of Fame owner. He changed the game, definitely changed the game for the Broncos, but he also made tons of improvements. He changed a lot for the league in general. He's kind of one of those owners that not every owner is built the same, but he was definitely a different beast compared to the other ones. So can't replace him. It's not like this is a new thing, though. This trust has not been. I mean, I would say what we've seen in the last 5 years, or since Pat Bowlen stopped making the decisions for the team. This isn't how he would want the Broncos to be run. So I think it's got to be changed. It's got to be something new. This is a good thing. This is good news for the Broncos. Because it always comes back every time we talk about, is it the coach's faults? Is it the player's faults? It all comes back to no one being held accountable, and that goes all the way to the top, to the ownership. So having someone to now hold people accountable and having a vision for the team. And to your point, hoping that they actually care about the Broncos being successful. If this is a business, then the way you're going to make the most money is if you have a competitive team and people actually want to show up and watch your games. If we're the Jaguars, if we're the Browns every year, which, no offense to the Browns, they've had a good couple of years and they look competitive. But, historically speaking, those are fan bases that just come year after year that aren't expecting great things from their team. So,
right.
If you want to be successful as a business owner in the world of football, you gotta be competitive.
I don't want Broncos country to turn into that, though. We're only 6 years removed from the Super Bowl. I don't want this to be 20 years down the line. We're the Browns. We're the Jags or whatever, and people fill the stadium, and not expect the team to win.
So you don't want Denver to put pools in?
Well, not unless they put a roof over the stadium. Maybe hot tubs.
Hey, there you go.
There you go. But look, there were 14,500 no-shows.
Right.
That's so disappointing.
The word I'm trying to get at is passion.
Yeah.
Not just wanting the team to win so that they make money, but a serious, deep passion, almost, being a fanboy themselves of the Broncos. Hey, I'm going to do everything I can to make this team win because I'm invested more than just making money.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Kev. I mean,
of course you do. It's my podcast. If you don't agree with me, I'm going to fire you.
Hey, I can disagree with you. We can agree to disagree.
True. That's true.
But with that being said, as I've said before, granted, I did read an article today about the whole lawsuit and everything that happened, and that Peyton Manning may be the face of a group to purchase the Broncos, and I would be okay with that personally, because with Peyton Manning not only winning one of his 2 Super Bowls in Denver, I mean, the guy's a genius at football. It wouldn't surprise me if the team's doing bad and Peyton Manning comes down from the box at halftime and tells the coach to pull his head out of his ass and this is what you need to do. I think that would be absolutely phenomenal, and if that does happen, I hope we get camera footage of it, because that would be epic. I don't care what anybody says. Peyton Manning just sticking it to the coach like, you're doing this wrong, you need to do this, this, and this. Oh, it would be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be awesome to see Peyton Manning on the sideline in the box. I mean, as the owner, I'm not going to speculate who the owner is going to. Just kind of wait and see. That's where I'm at with this whole thing, because they're keeping tight lips on everything, probably for legal reasons.
Right. And that's the thing. This news just broke today, like this afternoon. So, at some point, Joe Ellis is going to have to come out and officially say this team is for sale, and what that process looks like. I'm gonna. If anybody has Peyton Manning's email, let me know. I'd love to let him know about my $45 contribution. And I don't even need to have a say. I just want to be there with them all, and just kind of bring my own little piece of the puzzle, if you will, to the Broncos ownership team.
Kev, I'm upping it to 55.
60.
Damn it! John, are you getting in on this at all?
No, I'm just collecting the money.
That's true.
I'll make sure Peyton gets
let's see. Hey, a bunch of Italians here. Debbie, how you doing? Debbie's watching our live feed.
Hey, Mom.
Yeah, vote for Peyton. She votes for Peyton as well. It's going to be interesting because that's a whole dynamic of I don't open that can of worms necessarily, but does Peyton?
That's a show on itself.
Does Peyton Manning eventually, after the last 5 years of George Payton's contract, and does George Payton move on and Peyton Manning become what John Elway was a couple years ago, where he's the president of football operations and GM, where he's calling the football shots? Who knows? That's a can of worms.
That would be interesting.
Right? We want to speculate all day long. We can do that too. Maybe Eli's going to be coming in and being the head coach too. I don't know.
As long as they keep doing their Monday Night Football thing, I'm okay.
Hey, just so you know, Red Cloud says he's got 75 on it, Kev.
I'm up to 80.
85!
90.
So you tell me whatever the top is, you're going to be about $5, Kevin?
Yes.
So $4 billion, you're doing $4 billion and 5?
Well, there's a point and there's a point where I know you can't. Like, Rob can't say $4 billion because I know he doesn't have that. Okay, so
you don't know what Rob is.
I'll start panhandling.
Hey, maybe
buy the Broncos.
Maybe I have a secret financial advisor. You don't know that.
You wouldn't.
You
You
got a
would have.
financial backer.
Hey,
Then why aren't you donating any to Orange Weekly, man?
this mother.
Oh.
You better go back and check the records there, sir.
JK, you are a donator. Speaking of, there are stars.
You
If
get
you're
money?
watching on Facebook,
John's like, wait, we get paid for this?
not necessarily. And not yesterday anyway. Maybe we'll hit the point where we can get paid for doing this. This could be our full-time job. That'd be fantastic, right?
That would be.
I would move to Denver. I would move to Colorado Springs in a heartbeat.
Hell yeah.
If this is our full-time job, we might have to up our production value, but that's just me.
Well, yeah, once we get to the point where we can live off of doing this, then yes.
Yeah. I might have to get a new room and maybe some Broncos gear behind me, like you guys.
Just paint that globe behind you blue and orange, man.
Ooh, not a bad idea. I don't hate that.
And literally, as John says that, Kevin's internet just starts freaking out.
Yeah, that is.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like the Broncos giving us hope that he's going to stick with us the whole show, and then there you go.
Wah, wah, wah.
Hey, Kevin, looks like you're back.
Okay, let's start breaking down coaching candidates. The first one here, Jared Mayo?
Yeah, it's Mayo.
Rod Mayo.
Yeah. Okay. What? So as it says here, New England Patriots inside linebacker coach. What do y'all think about candidate number one? We'll do like a game show style of this.
Oh, that's what I was not prepared for this.
Me neither. I'm doing this on the fly. I wasn't ready for it either.
I kind of am against it just because he was the inside linebacker for the Patriots, and he doesn't have any experience at all. What is he? He played inside line, so he's the inside linebackers coach for the Patriots. Am I reading that correctly?
No, I think he's the defensive coordinator this year, if I remember correctly. I'm pretty sure this is his first, maybe second year in that position. I think it's his first, but I don't see him as a legitimate head coach candidate. I think they're going to interview him. I wouldn't be surprised if they give him defensive coordinator. Look at him as defensive coordinator, but just New England Patriot coach history with us. I mean, I just have flashbacks of Josh McDaniels days. And
you said his name! You're not supposed to say the name!
Just having flashbacks there. I wouldn't be surprised if the Patriots, sabotage the Broncos again. We'll get rid of Surtain. We'll get rid of Justin Simmons. Everybody, and then Gerard Mayo will get fired and go back to the Patriots, and we'll be right back at it again.
Bro, if that happens, Denver will riot.
Huh.
The name that shall not be said, John. Just hearing you say that name, it was like nails on a chalkboard. Ugh.
Rob, without him, we don't get to a Super Bowl.
Oh, the hell with you!
It's true. It was indirect, but it's true.
He didn't. Yeah.
He's still the biggest POS on the planet. I'm
It
sorry.
doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I get anger every time I see him.
Yeah, for me, I think this one, this guy's too inexperienced. Like you said, maybe a coordinator or something. But I don't like the fact that he's from the Patriots. To me, again, maybe sound like a conspiracy theorist. I would not put it above Bill Belichick to be like, let's have you go coach for this other team so that you can destroy them from the inside. Especially the Broncos.
Dude,
just keep them down for another 3 years so we don't have to worry about them. You go destroy them. I'll hire you back when you're fired. You have a job here.
Sure, that's the deal he made with the previous
I'm not going to say that that's what happened, but that's probably what happened.
Okay? Hey, to this day, my dad still believes that's exactly why John, I almost said his name. The name that shall not be said got a position with Denver. And he still believes that to this day.
Yeah.
So I am not going to pull up my screen because I think that's what was screwing up my...
And for the record, Gerard Mayo technically inside linebacker coach, but that's because they don't have a defensive coordinator because that is, Bill Belichick.
Gotcha. Okay. Behind door number 2, the Broncos' second coaching candidate is Dan Quinn. From the Cowboys defensive coordinator, and we know he has a prior head coaching experience. What do you think?
John, I'll let you take this one first.
Oh, yeah. Dan Quinn, interesting choice. He has head coaching experience, taking the Falcons to the playoffs and to the Super Bowl. Made the playoffs, I believe, twice in his Falcons head coaching career out of 4 or 5 years. I know he's pretty beloved by his players. He's turned that Cowboys defense into a better unit in the league and well respected. So I think if he gets it, it's purely for his experience at that position, right? The last 2 head coaches we've had both came from defensive coordinator positions, but they also had 0 head coaching experience. So again, I think if he's the one, it's because of his head coaching experience.
I mean, I'm not super against Dan Quinn. I just remember the point where the Falcons made it to the Super Bowl, was whooping the crap out of the Patriots, and then they just fell asleep, and it was just a slow deterioration from there.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that has to do with Dan Quinn's coaching ability, if he lost the locker room, something along those lines. But I definitely don't want to see that happen in Denver. I agree that we need somebody that, and I've said this before, and I know this is a dumb cliche, but you want a coach that's going to make you want to run through a wall for him. You want a coach that, if he says run through that wall, you run through that wall because you believe in him and you will follow him through the gates of hell. And that's definitely, I think, the kind of coach that Denver needs right now. With as bad as our culture is, and as much turmoil as this team and organization has been put through the last couple of years, we need somebody that's going to light a fire under everybody's asses and hold people accountable. So, I mean, I'm not against Dan Quinn, but he needs to have a grade A plan to move forward with that. That's just kind of my 2 cents on it. But, I mean, I'm not against it.
Yeah,
but
I think he is a player's coach. I mean, Vic Fangio was too, but I think he is more of a motivator than Vic was. I know a lot of players like playing for Vic, but I don't think he was a motivator in the same way that I'm pretty sure my understanding of Dan Quinn is that he is.
Right. Yeah, for me, I'm prioritizing prior head coaching experience. Decent head coaching experience, I think Dan Quinn was something like his head coaching record was like 43 and 42 win-loss.
Yeah,
something like that. It was
just above 500.
Just above 500. Yeah. He was 3-2 in the playoffs. So I mean, he's won some playoff games.
Yeah.
But yeah,
in the Super Bowl, it's not like that's an easy thing to do.
Yeah, I don't want somebody who can step in and then for a year or two, we're sitting here making excuses of, they're a brand new head coach.
Yeah.
They don't know how to manage the clock yet. They're still figuring that part out. I want somebody who can step in, and that's not necessarily even, I don't. If they're a first-time head coach, I don't want them calling plays because I want them to focus on being a head coach.
Right.
There's nothing that says you can't do both.
Right.
I mean, you look at some of the young new head coaches that are doing both, and they're doing fine. Right. I want somebody to be a head coach, right? And somebody like Dan Quinn, he's been there before. He can step in. He knows how to do that. So that's why he's at the top of my list. He's not this, young Sean McVay type of guy, but that is what it is. And that's why he's higher up on my list.
Yeah. And for me also, it comes down to what's the plan at quarterback, because it's a different story. A lot of Broncos country is calling for what's been the hot trend in the NFL, getting that younger offensive-minded, guy that's going to be the head coach and kind of revamp things on the offensive side. If we bring in a veteran signal caller, if we're able to pull off one of these monster trades that everyone's hoping for, that's a different story. That now you can go with a defensive coordinator type head coach because you have an all-pro at quarterback that can, help run the offense. You don't necessarily need a super offensive-minded coach in that scenario.
Right.
Now, if we go and draft a rookie, I'd probably prefer an offensive-minded head coach.
Right. Now, Red Cloud in the chat says Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh is not on the list of coaching candidates. The Broncos released that. There's 9 names on the list. Harbaugh is not on the list, so let's not even talk about him because he is not even an option. Okay, I guess they can maybe add him later, but I'm not surprised.
No.
Kevin, I got 10 names on the list.
Okay, well, let's see who we're missing after I go through mine. John did have a nice segue, though, talking about young, offensive-minded coaches. This guy, former Bronco, probably a Sean McVay type of appeal. Kellen Moore, Cowboys offensive coordinator. Younger guy, 33. But yeah, so there you go.
Yep, he's supposed to be an up-and-coming offensive-minded coach. Broncos made him look silly when we played him. We're one of the few teams to do that to the Cowboys this year. I mean, I don't know how we did it, but it brings that kind of excitement that basically what I just described, that young offensive-minded coach.
Mm-hmm.
And also, he did not play for the Broncos.
I thought he played for the Broncos.
He played for the Boise State Broncos.
No.
You were close, Kevin. I'll give you an A for effort.
Well, I didn't say Denver Broncos. I just said he played for the Broncos.
You did. I stand corrected.
Yeah, come on, dude. Give me a break here. Cough, cough. That's what I meant. All I said was he played for the Broncos. He was a former Broncos player. So there you go.
Kev, if we're going off of what you just said, Kellen Moore would not be an ideal candidate because he has no head coaching experience.
Exactly.
Granted, he would be a decent offensive coordinator, even though Denver spanked that Cowboy ass when nobody thought we were going to beat them. But I think he's got a lot of promise. I don't know if I'd want him for a head coach, but maybe an offensive coordinator. Sure.
Let's say we hire Dan Quinn as head coach and bring in Moore over as offensive coordinator. And just say, screw you, Cowboys. We're going to take
I don't think we're going to steal him from the Cowboys to be an offensive coordinator. We might not be able to steal him to be a head coach.
He won't. He won't leave. No.
Cowboys are trying to keep a tight hold on him. I think they see the potential in him. So we're going to have to offer him the head coaching position to take more from the Cowboys.
Yeah, no, I agree. But yeah, just Rob, like you said, because he has no prior head coaching experience, I'm not too into him. Again, I want somebody who knows the in and outs of being a head coach. Period.
Well,
in the end.
And I agree with what you were saying, Kev. I think we definitely need somebody to just focus on the head coaching responsibilities, but we need to pair them with a great offensive coordinator. So then that way the head coach can focus on being a head coach and calling a timeout when it's needed and not leaving all 3 of them on the board, focusing on when to challenge a play when it's actually a challenge that we may win, not just going, I got this red flag, let me throw it and see what happens.
Yep. Agreed. For time's sake, we're going to move down the list here. Next one, Eric Bieniemy. Bieniemy, thank you. The offensive coordinator from the Chiefs. My question is, I guess not really a question. It's just he's not the play caller. Andy Reid is.
Yeah.
So, he has been interviewed for head coaching positions many times, but so was Fangio. And I think if you're interviewed several times for a head coaching job and you're not selected, there's probably something there. That starts to be a little bit of a red flag.
Yeah,
and so for me,
it is a little bit of a red flag. Everyone keeps talking about him kind of being that next coordinator up. I think a lot of people are saying that he should be a head coach or should have been a head coach at this point. But at the end of the day, it's the owner making the call. And for whatever reason, he just has not gotten that head coaching opportunity.
Rob, what you think?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of is on the same level of Kellen Moore. He's a great offensive coordinator, but as you alluded to, he's not the play caller. So my question is what is it about him that's getting him all this interest? What is it about him that all teams are, oh my goodness, we need to interview him for the coach when he's not even the one that's calling the plays? If he's not calling the plays, then what the hell is he doing? That's my question.
Yeah. It just being the quality control.
I'm pretty sure he has more than quality control. But...
Shit, you and me could be quality control for offense. Like, hey, that's not working, dumbass.
How many times are we running the ball? How many times are we passing the ball? And on these downs and these distances. Okay, coach, here are the stats. Like,
I think the enemy, if he was listening to us, which I know he is because everyone is, I think he might be a little offended at those comments.
That's fine.
Kevin, you hold up the sign that says run, and I'll hold up the sign that says the damn ball.
Right. Okay, that's fair. Honestly, I'm not interested in him. For that reason. Like, again, so, no head coaching. He was a head coach in college, but still.
Yeah. Sounds like you're just Dan Quinn or bust at this point.
No, actually, we haven't got to a name that there is one name that contradicts myself. And let's go ahead and jump.
I like that.
Let's go ahead and jump into this. Nathaniel Hackett.
Come on down and bring Rodgers' ass with you.
There you go. That one to me only makes sense if there is a very high likelihood / unwritten agreement that we are going to be obtaining Aaron Rodgers in a trade. That's the only reason that makes sense. Because otherwise, I don't want him. I honestly don't. Because again, no prior head coach experience. But he brings Aaron Rodgers with him. Okay, now this makes sense.
Yeah, another guy getting an interview from Green Bay, the QB coach, Getsy. Again, I mean, you bring in Hackett, you bring in Getsy as the offensive coordinator. It seems like you're trying to position yourself to get that Rodgers trade going. So, 100%. If that's what it takes to get Rodgers, let's do it.
I like it.
I want him. I need him.
Rob, what do you think?
Hey, if somehow if we have a behind the closed doors conversation, like, look, y'all, whatever happens in the playoffs, good for you. Congratulations. We want Hackett, and we'll give you a first round. We'll give you the 9th overall pick, and maybe a player, depending on who it is. But you got to send Rodgers with him. I think that would only make sense. I mean, it's the same situation where, and I don't even know if I want to say this because I don't want to get ridiculed too much, but it's almost the same situation with Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I'm all for it. If Rodgers comes along with Hackett, I'm in 100%.
Okay. Let's see. Next up on the list, Kevin O'Connell. I like this guy. He was with the Rams. He's a McVay type. Let's see.
But
he did work on Jay Gruden's coaching staff in Washington before joining McVay in 2020. But look, his name's Kevin. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. I like him. You can't go wrong with a guy named Kevin.
We need a coach, not a Kevin 2.0.
What?
Again, to the more serious point, he's in a system where he's not calling the plays, right? So is it not the exact same situation as the enemy in that regard?
Yeah, he is. I'm not serious about.
I think you are when it comes to the name Kevin.
Anybody named Kevin, Kevin is all in on Kevin.
The one that shocked me the most was the guy from the Detroit Lions, defensive coordinator, Aaron. Which is that his last name? Aaron Glenn, is that what it is?
I think so.
He's got 2 first names. That's red flag number 1. And the Lions defense has not been great. I think they're ranked number 30th. I don't understand what we're doing there unless we're interviewing for like a defensive coordinator position. I don't know much about the guy. I just, to me, hiring someone from the Lions seems kind of out there.
Well, with Ed Donatel not being released, why would we be looking for a defensive coordinator is my question.
Who knows? I mean, changes can still happen. I mean, in that regard, has Munchak been officially fired yet? Has Mike's Julo been officially?
No, we haven't heard anything about them yet.
Nope, they're still there. Now they're on. The new coach can come in and let them go.
Right.
But they're staying on staff in case the new coaches want to retain them.
Which I'm okay with all those guys sticking around. I know a lot of people gave flack to Munchak this year, and maybe he deserved it this year. But I mean, if you look at his history and his what he's shown as a coach, I mean, he's one of the top offensive line coaches still.
Yeah. Jeff in the chat here says, I would have taken Rodgers after Manning retired, not now. They weren't going to trade Rodgers 5 years ago, 6 years ago. So unfortunately, that would have been great, but that wasn't a thing.
He's still playing at an MVP level, so
yeah,
it'll be another Peyton type situation. Get maybe 3-4 years. If we can get 4 years out of Aaron Rodgers, that'd be
with a broken toe.
Yeah. With a broken toe. Jeff also says, as long as Kevin is not a male version of Karen, if I got offended at anything, which I don't, I would be offended right now, but I'm not. That's a fair point. That's a fair point. Like, I don't think Kevins are male versions of Karens, but
well, it hasn't been determined. I don't think anyone's actually made that determination yet. And I think you're trying really hard not to be offended, just to prove that you're not a Karen.
I'm not.
It's a great acting.
I've seen some Kevins
together really well.
I've seen some Kevins on videos where I'm like, yeah, that's like a Kevin / Karen. Like that, you're not making a good case for us here, man. Like I can give yeah.
I'm just gonna say, I think you're flappable, Kevin. I think
so.
Yeah, I think we can get you.
Have you ever seen me offended?
By the end of the night, I think we get flapped.
Okay, challenge said, try to offend me by the end of the night. I doubt it'll happen.
Backstage show, here we come.
Well, we have 2 hours minimum to make this happen. I got this.
Yes.
I got this.
2 hours minimum. Hey guys, time to wrap up. Any other final thoughts?
I mean, other than a couple, other names that we didn't get to, but I'm sure we'll get to that. I'm sure we'll get to that in another show. But, fellas, I appreciate the opportunity to be with you guys this season. I've really enjoyed every minute of it. It's been the highlight of my week. And, again, I just want to extend my gratitude and thank you to all the followers, listeners, fans, everybody on the Orange Weekly crew. But I'm definitely looking forward to the off season and what it's going to bring and looking forward to doing more and more with you guys. So, again, thank you very much, and I appreciate y'all.
Yeah. No, John?
Yeah, thank you, everyone, for listening. This is our final show of the year for the post-game podcast. And, again, like Rob, this is my first year doing this with Kevin. Looking forward to many, many more years down the road and some more exciting post-game shows instead of the depressing, disappointing ones. But love Broncos country. Love you guys for listening, and we'll be back next year.
Oh yes, the fans. I mean, this is fantastic. This is why all you listeners out there. This is exactly why we do this. Tell your other Broncos fans about us. Hit that share button. Give us 5-star review. We appreciate it. We appreciate it so much that we're going to be doing that fan appreciation episode on January 25th, 7 p.m. Mountain Time, to give stuff away to y'all. And have some special guests where you get a chance to ask them some awesome questions and interact with them a little bit more than you probably would have. So, again, we already announced one. We'll announce more as the show gets closer, but appreciate everybody tuning in. We'll be here throughout the off season as big news breaks during the busy times of the off season, and we'll miss you. And we'll be back next year and the year after that and the year after that and probably the year after that. So
if I was a betting man, which I am, I'd put money on that.
There you go. Okay,
get into DraftKings and put some money on that.
There you go. Hey, time to sign off. But from the Orange Weekly post-game podcast crew, again, thank you, everybody. Have a good off season, and we'll end it on a very strong
Go Broncos.
Take care, everyone.